Okay, hello everybody. This is going to be a short video. Our country is in a real desperate state at the moment. It is very sad to see what's going on over there. But I can't say that I'm surprised or shocked by what's happening. I think this has been on the cards for a good 10-15 years. In fact, I've been saying there's going to be some kind of a civil war of sorts in the UK probably since 2010, 2011. And I think it's going to get much worse over the course of the next few years. If Keir Starmer doesn't get a hold of this situation and deal with it very carefully, he's going to have absolute fucking chaos on his hands, the likes of which the UK has not seen for decades, if not worse than anything that's ever seen before. And I don't blame the British people for rising up and for finally saying, basically sticking their two fingers up to the establishment. I think people have really had enough. Just a moment, please. I think people have. I really am not a person that promotes or supports any kind of violence towards anybody. But everybody has their breaking point. And I think, to be honest, I think far too many people in the UK have stood back and kept their mouth closed for far too long. And we're seeing the consequences of that happening, playing out across the UK. And if you think it's bad now, you wait until the next few days, because from what I can see going on social media, there's going to be fucking riots in pretty much every town and city across the UK over the next couple of days or weeks. And I hope there is. I hope there's absolute chaos in the UK. I really do, actually, because I think it's about time that the police, the government, the councils, and anybody else who thinks that it's okay to have a two-tier police system, that it's okay to allow people, undocumented individuals coming across from God knows where, every day, and have been for years now, to allow unbelievable amounts of people to come into the country, a small island, let's face it, legally or illegally, every year, for the past 30, 40 years. It hasn't worked. Multiculturalism, in many respects, has completely fucking failed. It hasn't worked because people don't want to assimilate. For the most part, they don't. They want to come into the country and do whatever the fuck they want. And slowly but surely, the authorities pander to them, cow down to them, and they get their own way. And then they go off and live in, they just live in their own little communities. And all we've got in the UK now is it's just more and more segregated. It's more and more control, more rules. And it's all this free speech censorship that's been going on. It's all been deliberate, as far as I can tell. And I think all they've really been waiting for is this stuff to happen, because deep down that's what they wanted to do. They said they're going to bring in powers now, new laws, new legislation, to make it more difficult for people to get together, to communicate with each other, to such an extent where these kind of protests can happen. And it's all deliberate. They've wanted to do this. And this whole narrative of the far right EDL fucking bullshit lies and nonsense. Do you really think that's going to work? Do you really think that's a smart way to do things? To label everybody, people that are already fucking dealing with pent-up anger and frustration for years, to smear them all with the far right brush? Yeah, that's a smart way of doing things, isn't it, Keir Starmer? We're going to see chaos in the UK like we've never, ever, ever seen before. And I'm glad, actually. I'm glad. Because it's about fucking time. It's about time that people woke up and smelt the coffee and saw the absolute cesspit of the country around them. And realised just how unjust everything is. How fucked up it all is over there. And treat one section of society differently to the majority of people. Yeah, that seems like a really smart way to go. That's going to end well, isn't it? Like I said, I'm not one for violence. I'm not one for mob rule and things like that. But there comes a point where people get fed up of being silent and trying to talk things through peacefully, where that just doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't work. It hasn't worked, and it's not going to work. So the only way forward now, people feel, and unfortunately, a lot of people feel like they've got nothing left to lose, will unfortunately be violence. And are there people jumping on the bandwagon who are not doing it for the right reason? Of course, yeah. But most of them will be there for the right reasons. And if we see any more of this barbarity that's been going on over the past few weeks, and endless different treatment of different groups, then the country's going to be ground to a halt. The country will literally be burning. If you think what happened in was it Southend, Southport, wherever it was, if you think that's anything, if you think that's something, you won't see nothing yet. People are going to get hurt, and things are going to get absolutely trashed in that country. And if Keir Starmer really thinks that bringing in new police powers or government powers or bringing in the army to deal with things is going to help, they're outnumbered. They're too outnumbered. I don't want to see my country erupt into hellish scenes where communities against this warfare between communities for months or years on end. But you know what? Maybe, just maybe, that might actually be what's needed. Maybe that's what's needed to get things back to some kind of normality, to get rid of this government. They've only been in power a few weeks, and look at the absolute mess that it's in. And lying left, right and centre, backing down on promises that they made so they could get into power, like we didn't know that was going to happen anyway. I've never seen people so disheartened, so demoralised, and yet so full of bitter rage, anger like we've never seen before, and sadness and depression. This has to stop, or people's lives are gonna, other deaths are gonna happen. But it won't be children, it'll be the police, it'll be politicians, it'll be councillors. Because those are the people that have allowed these things to happen, and they're gonna and not doing anything to really deal with it. You need to, if you don't close the border soon, If you don't deal with the difficult conversations, the taboo conversations, deal things that are going on in our country and have been for decades, then I'm telling you now, the country will be at war with itself. I don't want that to happen. Do you know what? Maybe this is the catalyst now, where things start to finally change. Get rid of all these illegal fuckers. Get rid of them all. Every one of them. And anybody else that's there legally, regardless of whether they've been there for decades, if you don't toe the line, if you don't respect our culture, our law, our way of life, our Christian values and our Christian country, then fuck off. Get out of the country, pack your bags, take your family with you, and fuck off elsewhere. Because people are done. They're really done. They're really done this time. And they aren't playing around. The time for talking is over.